today. Today is about digital economy, about transformation and knowledge-based economy. And I'd like to start by asking our very first role player, speaker, Dr. Hou Xue. Before she starts, let me read her profile for you. Dr. Hou Xue is from CCID, is under the Ministry of Industry and IT, so one of the think tanks. She is currently the Deputy Director of CCID International Cooperation Research Center. And she was also the Deputy Sec-Gen of the China Industry of Future 100. She received her PhD from University of Amsterdam and Beijing Normal University. So over to you, Dr. Hou Xue.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hou Xue from China Center for Information and Industry Development, which is directly under the China's Ministry of Industry and Information Development. And thank you for the invitation from KSI. It's my honor to be part of the event. The theme of our roundtable today is about a digital economy. I think it's a broad concept to maybe challenge to be cover all the perspective in a few minutes. As CCID is a renowned think tank in China industry development, so I would like to combine the latest trend about big model with the think tank role in digital transformation. So I will to explain the recent development in this realm. And artificial intelligence big model technology is becoming a new rising chink and the high ground in the latest global competition for digital technology. And the think tanks are playing a crucial role in understanding global trends, assessing the world's competitive landscape, and assisting in shaping the global order. And moreover, the role of big model technology is also becoming increasingly prominent in think tanks' decision analysis. So firstly, we believe big model technology have changed the think tank's capacity to support the government and the effectiveness of governmental policies. With big models, think tanks can conduct real-time searches and organize vast amounts of information, and we can quickly generate valuable insights. For example, several American think tanks have taken the lead in exploring the application of big model technology, and they already attempt to use big models for data collaboration and the modeling analysis to achieve more precise predictions and decision making. And secondly, big models can assist the think tanks in mastering the stock of human knowledge and generating viewpoints. On the one hand, we believe big model technology revolutionizes the way information is retrieved and rapidly assimilates human knowledge. For example, the ChatGPT could learn all the human knowledge within 3 months. On the other hand, the big models can generate new knowledge through deduction, assisting in decision analysis. This results in insight into industry and the economic development trends, supports the selection of development system for industry and the economic operations, and facilitates response to unexpected events and guides public opinions, among other applications. And thirdly, the big model technology and the think tank research can mutually promote the formation of an alternative optimization path. The think tank researchers, as experts in various specialized fields, can act as promote engineers for big models. And we believe that within 10 years, 50% of worldwide jobs will be related to what's referred to as promote engineer. And moreover, the mutually reinforcing process of machine self-enhancement learning and think tank research can lead to the further improvements. That's all the points I would like to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hou Xue. Right, CCID is a very important think tank under the Ministry of Industry and IT. I hope that you can work with us more in ASEAN countries. We're happy to have the CCID Deputy Director went to our conference in Penang, World Digital Economy Conference, to deliver a keynote speech. So hope that there will be more exchanges coming to ASEAN. And next, I'd like to invite my good friend Matthew. Let me read his profile. He is working for One Connect Financial Technology, which is listed on the stock exchange in NASDAQ as well as Hong Kong Stock Exchange. But it's also under a big brother, right? Ping An Group, right? Matthew, I asked him where he's from. He's Australia, from China. So maybe he's been around the world. He's done business all over the world, Middle East, ASEAN, Singapore-based, right? So I'd like you to introduce your group, One Connect Financial Technology. Are you trying to outsource your technology as a service to ASEAN countries as well?
Yeah, to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. First of all, a big welcome to China. Welcome to Shenzhen. This is a beautiful city. So Shenzhen truly today is the Silicon Valley of China, right? So welcome to Shenzhen. And a big thank you to Tan Sri Michael and to KSI to invite me to this stage. I must say that, knowing Tan Sri Michael for the past 6 years, at least twice a year, I've been invited to KSI stage, but it's always in Malaysia, right? So this is the very first time I actually speak on my home country. So I'm actually from China, to answer your question. So this is my home country. So big welcome to China. I work underneath the Ping An group. If you haven't noticed, there is a very big, shaped like a bullet building across the street from this hotel. It is actually the tallest building in Shenzhen, second tallest. It used to be the tallest in China. Now it's the second tallest because Shanghai Tower is number 1 now. So the Ping An building, we call it Ping An Financial Center. It looks like a shape of bullet, right? So right across from this hotel, that's who I'm working for. So Ping An Group, it truly is the, we call ourselves Fortune 30, right? We are the 25th largest company in the world. 27 subsidiaries, largely organized into 3 pillars. The first one is Ping An Insurance. So Ping An Insurance truly is the largest insurer in the world now. We also have a bank, Ping An Bank. I'd like to say a little bit more about Ping An Bank because outside of China, I think over the past 8 or 10 years, I spoke to at least 100 C-level bankers all over South Asia. But very few bankers actually know that the predecessor of Ping An Bank actually is a bank called Shenzhen Development Bank. A lot of people don't know that. When Mr. Deng Xiaoping some 45 years ago decided Shenzhen is the, the portal, right, the open door policy to the outside world, he needed a policy bank to support. One of his visions is to turn China into the world factory today. So SDB, we call it Shenzhen Development Bank, truly is the policy bank to develop. And at a peak, there are at least, I think, 80% of the SMEs all over China that are involved in some sort of exporting to the outside world are funded by this bank called Shenzhen Development Bank. Now, Shenzhen Development Bank, some 12 years ago, is acquired by Ping An Group. Today is, that is the Ping An Bank, right? So that's a bit of history about Ping An Bank. Why I say that has a lot to do with, what we're trying to promote in ASEAN. I lived in Malaysia for 3 years prior to COVID, so sometimes technically say I'm almost half Malaysian. So our DNA is SME lending, right? So what we did some 5 years ago when Hong Kong MA, when the Monetary Authority of Hong Kong, they issued a Batch A digital virtual banking license, we also applied, right, outside of mainland China. So we have a virtual bank in Hong Kong. We call it Power Bank, stands for Ping An One Connect Bank. So that's my sister bank in Hong Kong. So unlike the other 7 virtual banks in Hong Kong, they're all involved in the retail, right? So where people are talking about financial inclusion, digital transformation, everyone jumping to retail market. So we are the only bank actually put ourselves into SME lending only. Right? I don't know whether you know that in Hong Kong, there are about 300,000 SMEs, 1/3 of which involve in cross-border trade, right? So they buy from mainland China and they sell to the rest of the world, including Malaysia, right? So that we decided that's our target market. Okay, and also we segment that market into, we actually realized that 1/3 of that market, they never borrowed before from any bank in Hong Kong. So they have zero credit history. Normal banks like HSBC, Standard Chartered, they probably would not lend to them. And we decided to lend to this space. And how we achieved doing that? We built SME lending platform that we call TradeLink. Yeah? So TradeLink actually taps into Hong Kong customs. So basically what we do is, we use, AI, OCR, we use, sort of artificial intelligence technology to suck data out of the custom. So a very simple piece of paper like the custom declaration form, contains a lot of non-financial but relevant data. Because nobody in their right mind is going to order a lot from their suppliers if their business is not thriving. So even without any financial statement, we'll be able to lend to them. So we use the trade data as a collateral to lend to them, right? So so far, 5 years in operation, our NPL ratio is less than 1%. So that's sort of things that we're trying to bring to ASEAN, right? So we also, in the past years, we actually built a very similar SME lending platform in Middle East. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to connect the dot between mainland China, Hong Kong, and hopefully Malaysia, and all the way to Middle East. So what I call this is a digital trade corridor, right? So we're trying to promote trade, especially for the cross-border SME trade, and also helping the SMEs that would not otherwise get a funding from a normal bank to get a funding. So that's what we do, right? So in a nutshell. And even, along the so-called Belt Road Initiative, right? So we are concentrating on ASEAN because the regional comprehensive economic platform. So we want to bring this digital trade corridor to Asia, right? To ASEAN. And we even trying to create a subset of that. What I call is DHTC, a digital halal trade corridor. Trying again to link maybe Indonesia, Malaysia, and all the way to Middle East, hopefully tap into African market, right? So that's what we're really trying to do. So if you are considering, or if you're already trading with China, the chances are that your counterpart here in China, they will be captured in one of our platforms already, because we literally built every single SME trading platform that you know it, because our DNA, Shenzhen Development Bank I mentioned, right? So largely most of SMEs that involving export, import is actually supported by us. So we can help you to tap into the data. So we're talking to more than 26 government verticals. So it's not only the customer information, but also company register, shareholding arrangement, utility, taxation, so on and so forth. So we can help you, your counterpart, your SMEs in ASEAN, to actually know your counterparty better, right? That resides in China through data. So that's what we do. Spot on. So that's my 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Matthew. I think this is a very excellent solution for cross-border e-commerce, right? You can promote cross-border e-commerce between China with all the counterparty risks covered, and you can also have all the e-commerce promotion with the SMEs in China and SMEs in Southeast Asia, I think. Right?
Not only e-commerce, more micro SMEs.
Okay, so micro SMEs can leverage on this. As long as your interest rate not too high, the NPL will be quite okay. So thank you, Michael. Tomorrow we're looking forward to go to the Ping An office, right, to visit the fintech division, right? So we're looking to be impressed by your technology, how we can use it in ASEAN countries. Thank you very much. The next one, I would like to turn to Indonesia, right? Indonesia is one of the largest country by GDP in Southeast Asia, right? And Yohanes Lukiman is really in the middle of all this e-commerce trading, in fact, offline, online as well. I was doing some research on your company before I came here. You guys are doing online ticketing, online travel, logistics, you're doing retail business, online and offline as well, right? So I think that you can share with us, Indonesia has been known as one of the biggest story in Southeast Asia. I think, why don't you share with us what's happening in Indonesia with all the banning of B2C by TikTok? So what's happening now in Indonesia? Can you share with us what's the latest from Indonesia? Thank you.
Thank you for the kind introduction. Yes, so I'll explain a little bit. The group that I belong to immediately is Blibli Ticket Group. We're listed on the Indonesian Stock Exchange. We're the largest B2C omnichannel retail ecosystem in Indonesia. But beyond that, we're part of Jarum Group, which is the largest conglomerate in Indonesia. So being on the largest in China, we're the largest in Indonesia, so well matched on the stage. But in terms of trends, and particularly digital trends when it comes to MSMEs, I have to say that it's not a case of if you build it, they will come. The major online players and the government have tried so hard to bring what we can call the tail end of MSMEs into the digital economy. And despite building an extensive logistics network, despite building out all the digital infrastructure, there's still basic problems that we need to address. One is the devices needed to become part of the digital economy. Two is the knowledge needed to become part of the digital economy. On the trail end or the tail end of MSMEs, these two things are still very much lacking. So there should be a concerted effort from developmental agencies, developmental banks, government, and big businesses such as my group to try and onboard these MSMEs. And what we see is, without having the necessary devices, without having the necessary knowledge, when we try to force MSMEs into the digital economy through incentives like subsidies, you'll see a spike, and then after they finish enjoying the incentives that we offer, they exit the digital economy because there's no more life support, so to speak. So it's not a sustainable model. It's not a sustainable model to try and induce digital behavior in MSMEs through incentives or through fiscal support. So there needs to be structural change in terms of how education is done from a very early stage, not only from children, but also for older people who are running these MSMEs to become part of the digital economy. Now, the Indonesian government has tried to do a program called Bangga Buatan Indonesia, which means proud of Indonesian-made goods. I think China has done a similar program, which is Made in China 2025, which we were running with limited success in targeting the tail end of MSMEs. But it is a work in progress. We're trying to onboard these people, and now we're proud to see that China has actually made investments in trying to get these MSMEs digitally educated. So we see Beijing University has opened a campus targeting up-and-coming digital entrepreneurs in Bali. I believe 2 more universities are taking advantage of the deregulation in the educational sector in Indonesia by opening campuses in Jakarta that are scheduled to open in 2024. And we need a lot more investment and help there. So devices, I believe that companies like Huawei, like Xiaomi are thinking about opening up onshore, and this will bring down the import tax, of course, very significantly. So addressing these 2 problems, I think, is the key to bringing MSMEs into the digital economy more aggressively than we already have. Thank you, Stefan.
Okay, thank you, Yuki. Johannes Lukiman, but I call you Hans, right? Call you Hans, right? I think he has a background, but he's the chair of the Permanent Committee for Asia Pacific Indonesian Chamber of Commerce, right? He's a very important man. He's an entrepreneur as well as the Ernst & Young Consulting, so M&A, so a lot of experience in Indonesia. You want to look for him in Indonesia, look for his group, right? Thank you, Hans. Next, I would like to move to my good friend, Siriwat Chen, right? Let me read his profile. Siriwat is director of the Center for Inclusive Digital Economy at the Asia Vision Institute. It's a very important think tank in Cambodia, and advisor to the Council for the Development of Cambodia with the rank of Director General. He's also a advisor to Chemtech University, of which I'm part of the university, right? I'm the professor of the entrepreneurship there. And I'd like him to share about the Cambodian experience, right? Cambodia is one of the fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia the last couple of years, and they just have a new change of government. And the Prime Minister is a very impressive credential, right? With a PhD from the universities, and So I think this is a new team that I was so impressed by the team. Maybe you can share with us what's happening in Cambodia.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank Tan Sri Michael Yo, Tan Sri Majid Khan, KSI team, and the China Development Institute for organizing this event. Just on a personal note, I feel very welcome to come back to Shenzhen. I used to work here at the Southern University of Science and Technology back in 2018, and so for me to be here today and with all the distinguished guests and panelists, it does feel like a full circle moment. And so during my time in 2018, what I experienced in Shenzhen as a very unique city known as China's Silicon Valley was a truly immersive experience of a digital economy. And so I started to understand more, what does it mean to be a digital economy? I think there is a certain intimidation factor if you come from a non-technical background or expertise, that if something has the word digital in it, immediately that requires you to have a sort of IT background or computer engineering or software development. But we see that's not the case because technology has both a back end and a front end. And so what I would just like to share in this brief introduction, the case of Cambodia is quite unique. When we think about digital transformation, you might immediately think of these emerging technologies like AI, 5G, blockchain, etc. But there is a certain misconception around that anything related to digital technology or transformation must include all of these very sophisticated technologies. But from my experience in advising and consulting at the, let's say, organizational level, both in public sector and private sector, digital transformation challenges come about in different ways. And if I can just share a few examples. Firstly, we have this, let's say, misunderstanding that digital transformation is about the transformation of technology. But actually, digital transformation is more about the transformation of people. And so we begin with people as individuals, scaling up to the organizational level. And really, what are the two key pillars or the components of transforming from an individual is first to transform the mindset. So what is our mindset? What is our understanding of the use of technology? How can it be used? What are some of the consequences in society, in the economy? And from going to the mindset, how it changes our behavior. So the behavior of how we as users and users of applications, of platforms, how this goes across the different sectors and at different levels. And so I think what we did, at least from the think tank perspective, we contributed to policy research and also capacity building. And what was interesting from our experience in arranging and organizing capacity building programs related to digital economy is that it took an approach from both sides. So from one side, we could say contributing to the training of technical staff. So for example, mid-level or management level IT staff within each company. We know that not only IT companies have to face this challenge or have to use technology. All companies nowadays can be considered technology companies. And so what is key for these technical individuals is to expand on their personal, interpersonal skills, like the 4 C's of the 21st century skills: communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking. All of these important soft skills are able to enhance the hard skills, the technical skills that they have, and make it easier to work, across different departments, with different stakeholders, with different partners. And then if we flip 180 to the other side, there's nothing wrong with not having a technical background, right? We have to at least, the first thing we do is to admit, okay, I don't know how it works, but it's possible to learn. Nowadays we have Google, we have YouTube. They've been around for a long time. And just because we don't understand how the AI algorithms were developed to make suggestions, to make recommendations, doesn't mean that we still don't use it on an everyday basis. So that's quite a simple analogy, but just to really put forward the key point that it does take an approach from both sides, and the digital economy involves all of us as individuals. We all have a role to play, and I think the biggest risk or the factor here would be negligence or to avoid this. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. On time, man. Fantastic. Perfect timing. 5 minutes. Okay. Excellent. Because I'm from Malaysia, so I had to defer to my China, my guests. So now I go back to my countryman, Malaysian, Dato Henry Goh. Dato Henry Goh is a Malaysian entrepreneur, right? He has been helping more than 3,000 companies from 37 countries spread over 24 industries in embracing digitalizations in their daily operations and businesses. So he founded a company with his brother 20 years ago. And he has spread his wing to so many countries and so many industries. So he can share with us what is the experience of the SMEs to digitalize, how they do digital transformation, what are the challenges they face. This is a real life case study. Maybe you can share with us one of your prominent case studies. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, my fellow Malaysian. And obviously, thank you to Tan Sri from KSI for inviting me again for this wonderful event. And obviously, it's very nice to see familiar faces in the panel. Of course, from this event itself, I met many people from different countries, which is great. My name is Henry, and I'm really glad to be back here in China. This is my first time back in China after the opening of the borders, and of course, after the horrendous COVID pandemic. I wish that it would be easier for me to enter China, but it took a bit more difficult this time, I felt. So I hope one day Malaysians and Chinese, we can cross borders easily without visa. When we talk about, I started a company called Microkiosk together with my brothers in year 2000, so that's about 23 years ago. Currently, we are operating in 12 different countries and regions across mostly Asia, but we are also starting up quite a number of operations now in Eastern Europe itself. We are actually an enterprise solutions platform company, so in the sense that we are helping companies to embrace technology, especially in the 4 key areas of our technology, which is communications, payments, customers engagement, as well as marketing. So for us is that we are now actually servicing more than 5,000 customers across the world, mainly coming from the financial and services industry. So currently we are powering about more than 40 plus banks from around the world. And of course, even in China itself, we are working with companies like ICBC Bank and the Bank of China in terms of the provision of our services in helping them to embrace the digital technology. Coming back to today's topic, in terms of digital transformation and even how to make countries more prosperous or society more prosperous in the utilization of technologies. I think there are, through as we sell our businesses and as we sell our solutions to businesses, we always felt there are 2 different, very conflicting areas in terms of embracing technology. Some companies embrace technology for the sake of embracing technology. But there are also companies that really embrace technology because they want to use the technology. Why I say so is that some companies, when they start to embrace, say, for example, blockchain technology, or when they start to embrace AI technology, then they can say that they are actually very high-tech companies because they are utilizing AI. But a lot of times we do see them because they are embracing these keywords nowadays. They are a technology company, but they are actually not utilizing technology to the best it is can. So sometimes for us, we see is that it's not about embracing the latest and the best technology, but then actually to embrace technologies that are actually able to help you to elevate your businesses or even to elevate a society by itself. So as my time runs out, but let me share a couple of areas of technology that I think in trend now. Of course, the word ChatGPT AI is something that we see is consistently in trend. We see that blockchain is, of course, is no more the key trend now, but it's still very prevalent and very important, blockchain. 5G technologies, very important now, of course, cybersecurities, and of course, utilizing of electronic commerce or e-commerce in your business. So these are 5 different technology that we see is growing really quickly. But however, as I again mentioned, embracing technology is not the end of all things. Embracing technology is just the beginning, and how to then utilize this technology and to focus in helping your companies or even your societies to grow. One key area, or I should say, let me share with you 5 key areas that technology can be utilized successfully, especially in the area of economic growth. Access to services, such as, for example, through technology, you can allow rural areas to access to very good telemedicine services. Increase efficiency and productivity through technologies and embracement of things like the 4th Industrial Revolution technologies. Improve your innovation and also improve inclusivity in terms of technology. More and more people can then now access to more things and be more inclusive in the society. And last but not least would be environmental sustainability. I only have 5 minutes, but generally, these are 5 key areas that I believe that we should use technology for in terms of driving a better society and also to transform a society towards a more progressive one. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato Henry Goh. See, Malaysia is a small country, right? We all have to go out of the country to sell our products, right? I was in Singapore, was an entrepreneur. I used to have offices in Vietnam, Bangkok, Shanghai, Shenzhen, and it's so hard life because we are a small country, we had to go out of the country to market. But this is an example of entrepreneur. In the same way, like his request saying that we need to have visa-free. So my request to Ministry of Industry, maybe you can give us a high-tech people to visa-free, at least start with high-tech software people, in order to promote this exchange, all this 高质量发展，我们要 exchange idea. We need to really look at the visa issue. All of us struggle to come to China. It took us a lot of time, effort to get the visa to come to China. So I appeal to the Ministry of Industry, at least right? This is a very important point for us. And in the same way, just like you know, I was helping a company from Shanghai. A Shanghai listed company wanted to come to Malaysia to sell their solution. They are a listed company on Shanghai Stock Exchange, okay? Enterprise software company. They set up a seminar in Penang, 5-star hotel. Through MDEC, they called me out to help them. Then I said, are you coming next week? Oh, it's cancer. Because they couldn't find anybody to come to the show. A China enterprise solution is not yet recognized. Enterprise, nobody really today would like to buy a China enterprise software yet. You must do something more, right, today. Right? For them to come to Penang, nobody show up, so they had to ask me for help. So I think in the same way, it works both ways. To build that sort of trust, give us the visa, visa-free. My Singapore wife is visa-free. I'm Malaysian, I had to apply for visa. So, okay, next I would like to move to online, right? We have one very important online, the Miss Tianmi Stilphen, right? She is, hi, Miss Tianmi. I think she's now based in Singapore. Singapore always attracts the best people to move there, right? So I think I look at your background, you're from America, you studied a law degree, doctorate degree from University of North Carolina Law School, and then you are a liberal arts major, I believe. And you also have a telco, media, technology background. So you have a background of technology, media, as well as legal notice. And you work for US government, the Congress, set policies. I think it's important for lawyers to look at standard, right? The standard for digital security. So now you are in Singapore working on standards for digital security, which is very important subject matter. And so please, Ms. Tianmi Stilphen, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And thank you, KSI, for having DSI. I'm such a remiss that we cannot be there in person. I am also stepping in from managing director who used to be playing a very important part in the sustainability and also ESG sector of the world. Such an honor to be here, and greetings from International Chamber of Commerce Digital Standards Initiative. We are based in Singapore, but we're actually a global initiative with a global perspective. So ICT-DSI aims to accelerate the development of a globally harmonized, digitized trade environment as a key enabler of dynamic, sustainable, and inclusive growth. We will engage with the public sector to progress regulatory and institutional reform and mobilize the private sector on standards harmonization, adoption, and capacity building. So that's our official statement if you want to know anything that we're doing. So a few points that were mentioned by the panelists just now is that we noticed that SME would come into digital economy and then quit, and then just a very short cycle. And then we see this mentality change. And I actually attended a panel that we made a very good distinction between digitization and digitalization and digital transformation, which I think is a good point to mention, is that digitization is a very simple process where you're taking things from analog to electronic form. So one of the things that we're doing right now, which is covered under my portfolio, is to remove all legal barriers to paperless trade. If you really talk about it, that's really under the umbrella of trade facilitation. What happens now is that the current trade environment, a lot of countries are still heavily reliant on paper. Paper documents go from border to border. And on the paper documents, you will include essential information. So just now we talked about the custom declaration form, but also another part of the key document in the trade document section is actually bills of lading, warehouse receipts, or letter of credits. Things like that are very common to every single transaction. So data-wise, if you have one transaction from any country to another, that's about 240 copies of 64 documents and involving around 50 stakeholders. And that's the process you have to go through transporting anything from point A to point B in the current trade environment. So digitization has been happening for the past 20 years, but up until 2020, only 1% of the paper documents has been made into electronic format, which is a very shocking number given the progressiveness of electronic commerce. You will order something from online and then 2 days later, boom, you get it on your front doorstep, right? That's not something that's happening in the trade environment nowadays with shipping for forwarders and freight forwarders. What we're doing is trying to provide that enabling business environment through legislative reform to recognize the validity and functionality of the electronic format of documents as the same as the paper format. And that's what we describe as digitization. But then when you come to digitalization, that's actually something more about the value proposition and also the mentality change, is to not consider a document within the realm of the four corners of a document, but rather the information or data that's consistent on the paper. What's supposed to be transferred is not the piece of paper, but the information, the bits and pieces of it. And that's the mentality change that we're really trying to drive. And then digital transformation really touches on the SMEs of each country, trying to embrace this digital mentality of reforming your business model based on this digitalization and really trying to reap the benefit of this digital transformation and digital economy. So right now, so if you talk about quantitative wise, if we're trying to remove remove legal barriers to paper documents or paperless trade, what exactly is that enabling? One is that it is getting cheaper. It is driving down the operational cost for SMEs, and as well as giving these business models a way to put more money and resource into developing better products and better services, and also making it faster. Clearing time could go down from 24 days to 7 days, or even maybe faster. I know Thailand has a clear smart port that can actually clear things within 4 days. So that's the efficiency that we're aiming for. And as well, lastly, more importantly, is in driving a more resilient supply chain. Something that we saw over the pandemic is that supply chain was broken into bits and pieces everywhere throughout. But with digitalization fully enabled, we were able to actually drive this full entire process in this digital format with no human involvement, and also becoming less human involved and human reliant. We're actually able to reach a less iron prone process. So that's what we're doing, and very quickly on what we're doing. And great to be here because ASEAN is actually one of our key target list countries this year. And I can go into more details about what we're doing with each countries later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim and Stephen. It's shocking to hear that only 1% of the world's document has been digitalized, right? It's very shocking to know that we are still far behind adopting digital solutions. I think it's important to have cross-border share data, right? We had all this committee on ASEAN, like I was sharing with Dr. Sipala this morning about G2G level, right? There's a lot of committee on digital standard, right? Like how to set the standards across ASEAN country alone. There's a lot of discussion, but not much implementation, right? A lot of talk, but no action, Dato, right? In a lot of this. So it's going to take a while to really to have that cross-border standards for digital standards. That's why I heard this morning from my friend from Chengdu, the e-commerce, he was saying that it's a good thing that Indonesia banned the B2C e-commerce because there's no standard, there's no right behavior. China is very mature in the digital e-commerce, so is America, so they have rules and regulations. But those cowboy places, all the people come to Indonesia, they do not follow the rules. That's why they spoil the market. So I think it's important to set the standard for everything. This is a bold effort. This is driven by American trained lawyer for DOJ. Hopefully we're able to achieve some result from that. So next, I would like to move to a video recording of my friend Georg Chmiel, right? Georg Chmiel is a German-Australian entrepreneur. He has actually created 3 unicorns, right? So it's quite an achievement, 3 unicorns in his lifetime. He has made 30 acquisitions and he's been acquired 6 times, right? So he's truly an entrepreneur who picked Malaysia as his base. So I'm very proud to hear that he chose Malaysia of all the countries that he's doing. And he also had the biggest M&A deals for startups in the Singapore, Malaysia. So he's now a prop tech entrepreneur. And I'd like to hear his recording. So he's an example of someone who has successfully gone IPOs, and listed company, has gone M&A. So let's hear Georg Chmiel, who's online with us on the video, 4 minutes video.
Hello and good day everyone. My name is Georg Chmiel. I'm an online entrepreneur based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and operate across ASEAN, China, Australia, New Zealand, and beyond. Before I start with my short essay, I would like to thank Country Michael Yo and the organizers from KSI to have me at this conference, my 5th Chinese summit so far. And I'm sure this one will be as interesting, if not more interesting than any one before, because we are talking about digital transformation and knowledge-based economy, which is a topic which I can relate to very much. What are the new trends? And I keep this brief because I'm pretty sure everybody has a fair understanding of the key trends. Artificial intelligence, AI, and automation. E-commerce. E-commerce, we are merely scratching the surface in e-commerce. We made massive progress. Even properties can be sold online now, unthinkable 20 years ago. Web 3.0 and blockchain technology is not just about transforming the way we handle transactions and data, but also how we operate in a decentralized way, putting a great focus on changing structures and cultures and behaviors. Digital healthcare is an absolute must-have and provides amazing benefits, making services of healthcare available for everyone. Renewable energy and sustainability doesn't need any further commentary. It's essential, and most importantly, also cybersecurity. As our dependency on digital technology grows, so does also the risk and the vulnerability. So how can digital partnerships help to build a more prosperous society? First and foremost, digital partnerships foster collaboration between governments, businesses, and civil society. And when these entities collaborate, synergies will start to appear. Secondly, digital partnerships bridge the digital divide, give people who are less advantaged an opportunity to catch up, close disparities. Thirdly, digital partnerships can stimulate economic growth. When governments and businesses work together to create a favorable environment for digital innovation, it attracts investment, fosters entrepreneurship, and automatically leads to the creation of new jobs. Furthermore, digital partnerships can enhance the delivery of public services. So what is required? Apart from investment in technology and implementation, policies by policymakers to control and guide the progress, there's one thing which is very, very important, which is education. It's been shown in research that 70% of the efforts of implementing generative AI, and other technology platforms are investments in people, culture, and cultural changes and processes. So on the soft skill side, not on the hard skills technology side, but 70% of the money and the effort needs to go into the human change. And education is a key element of it. What is important when it comes to education? Technology, literacy, of course. People need to become more and more technology savvy to understand what they are dealing with. Adaptive personalized learning, the old form of learning, will change. There is a need for more flexibility. Focus on data analytics. There's so much data around. It needs to be mined and converted into information and then further into knowledge. A very important bit is artificial intelligence ethics and regulation. As AI becomes more prevalent in education, there will be a need for professionals who understand AI ethics, regulation, and its implication in an educational setting. Critical thinking and problem solving, here machine and human can work together. Emotional intelligence and interpersonal skills. The more we interact with technology, the more do we actually need to be also humans in order to balance off the technological progress. Continuous learning, so the times of first doing education and then later doing work are finished. I think it's all now getting a continuous process of education and then professional work. And last but not least, I want to finish with cybersecurity. The increased use of these digital tools and collection of educational data, cybersecurity will be even a bigger critical concern. Professionals, also in the educational sector, will need to understand how to protect sensitive data and maintain the security as well as the stability of these educational platforms. I wish everyone in this conference a fantastic conference and summit. And I'm sorry again for not having been here with you today, but I have commitments overseas attending various annual general meetings. Thank you and all the best for this conference. Bye.
Thank you, Georg Chmiel, my friend. He's an example of a corporate man who turned to be an entrepreneur, right? So it's an interesting background in McKinsey, KPMG, and Deutsche Bank. So this is an example of what you can do. Corporate people, not just young startup, fresh out of school, to become entrepreneurs. I think there are different kind of entrepreneurs. So this is an example of successful entrepreneurs. So last but not least, right? I'd like to introduce Professor Michael Song, right? In fact, I was looking for him years ago when I heard him spoke at the conference in Shanghai. I was looking for this Professor Michael Song. So his background is a PhD from MIT, right? Very hard to get MIT degree in computer science and electrical engineering and the media labs, and also a Sloan Business School. And so one of the schools that I want to attend, but I haven't got the chance to attend. But it's too late. It's too late to attend the school. But Prof. Wang is talking to me about building a digital Silk Road infrastructure in ASEAN. So he has an interesting background of academic, a very strong academic background, but he's also entrepreneur. He's investing in many companies, some companies as well. And he is good in fintech, AI, and blockchain. All the hottest technologies today happening, right? And the e-commerce, digital economy is not just about B2C e-commerce, right? It's a very small part of the future. I think the future belongs to much bigger things than just B2C e-commerce. I think AI, blockchain, maybe you can share with us what you think about the next wave, the next big thing, right, for e-commerce. Share with us. Thank you.
Yeah,
Prof.
thank you very much, and thank you for Tansri, Michael Yo, and the other KSI leadership for this wonderful opportunity. So I'm going to set the stage because I think everybody talks about these new things, but I'm just going to get everybody to intuition of the new digital revolution, right? So 20-some years ago, we had the first digital revolution. It was the internet, and it really changed the way that the whole entire world evolved, right? We took offline information, we digitized it, we made it free, we dissolved borders of how to interact with that, and then it became a digital economy, a data economy, and the world has never looked back, right? And now these days, if you look at the GDP of US or a developed country like China, the digital economy is roughly 40% of the overall economy, and it's a monolithically growing thing. It will never become less, it will all becomes more. Okay? Now we have a new digital revolution upon us. And now this digitization is not of information, but is of value, okay? Anything of value, okay, whether it's a stock or a bond or a piece of real estate or companies or individuals' future net worth, okay, can be digitized. And by digitizing this, we can, for the same reason why we can exchange information cross borders and friction-free and instantaneous and at zero cost, we can do this with exchange of value. And that's a very fundamental thing. That is what we call a general purpose technology. Okay? Doesn't matter if you're in finance or you're in technology or you bake bread or you're a dancer, you use the internet for e-commerce, right? And likewise, the new tools of digital finance, we call it, can be applied to any and every category. And by doing that, we democratize its access to the whole world. And this is very fundamental, right? Because right now, if you think about the number of people who are bankless, right, who do not have a bank, have access to be able to get loans, to be able to invest in things beyond inflation, right? These are big, major problems for the global South world, okay? And so now in 2023, we're at the cusp of radical transformation. The technology behind it is called blockchain. Think of it as the new internet of trust, where we can now exchange value, even though we might not trust the counterpart. Okay, has become the infrastructure of infrastructures to connect everything up. And once we digitize everything, then we can put all the AI and big data and automation technologies on top to make it really convenient for everyone, right? And I will also point out that China is actually taking an extreme leadership position in this, okay? From the underlying blockchain infrastructure, where President Xi Jinping in 2019 made national strategy, is the infrastructure of infrastructures to connect all of these heterogeneous databases around the world and to be able to transact value across it, right? Two, the digitization of the digital currencies, right? Everybody's heard of ECNY and related, we call it central bank digital currencies, okay? 9 out of 10 central banks will be digitizing their currencies within, say, a 5 to 10 year horizon, okay? So you're going to have payment systems. Think about the disruption to the international monetary system, when countries can now bilaterally settle with each other, and they don't need to have a banking system, 70-year-old SWIFT, to disintermediate. They can directly bilaterally settle, and they don't even need a reserve currency in between, potentially. Okay? This is absolutely game-changing. Okay? And so now we have this new world that's happening, the multipolar world that's coming about. ASEAN as a global bloc, also BRICS Plus, okay, representing half of global population and a significant fraction of the oil and energy resources. Okay, all these guys want to trade with each other, right? And they want to do so in a friction-free manner, something that does not require geopolitics to be able to do. Everybody wants to be peaceful and trade. And so now we have this new digital Silk Road infrastructure, okay, which is now spreading across the world, allowing every counterpart to connect to that and to be able to trade friction-free. It's going to start first with the use of payments, digital trade and digital commodities, but in the not-too-distant future, the digitization of everything, the digitization of stocks and bonds and real estate and everything else. And I believe that that time horizon is happening now, and over the next, say, decade, it's going to really gain momentum. Okay, World Economic Forum has said there's going to be $24 trillion of digital assets in 2027, which is just less than half a decade from here, right? So I think this is the new digital transformational technologies, and everybody should be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Michael, right? We hope that we can work closer together to bring your know-how to ASEAN countries. I know you have background in the US, in China. Maybe ASEAN is a very complicated place. It's much more diverse. It's much more complicated, right? I have done business in ASEAN country except Brunei. So I know how complicated it is in a small market, but yet a lot of big potential, even Indonesia. I know a cooperasi in Indonesia with 40 million farmers, one of the biggest farmers, but they need to get the technology, how to digitalize the farmers and the cooperasi. So I'm going to Indonesia, maybe we can bring you to Indonesia to see how can we help to digitalize all the farmers. But I think I want to open up question. I think a lot of my audience are from Zoom, my friend from Singapore, from US, want to know about China. China is really something that people are very curious about, right? How, we read about China from the media, that we don't really know China. I really lost. Even for me, I felt lost when I go to China. I don't really know China. Although I think I know China, I don't know China. So maybe you can share with us, Dr. Hou Xue, right? How far is China now in terms of digital transformation, the SMEs? I know that, is it real? I mean, all these low-cost factories in Dongguan, in Zhongshan, are they going digital transformation? What's happening in China? Maybe you can share with us in terms of digital transformation. Yeah.
大家不建议我用中文来回答一下问题吧？是这样的，赛迪呢是工信部直属的事业单位，我们是工信部的智库，我们是更多的是从政策研究或者产业行业研究的角度来支撑部里面的工作，但是我们的发表的言论不能够代表工信部，这个我还是要先说明。然后我在这里分享的更多的观点，更多的也是从一位研究人员的角度来解读一下关于中国数字化或者是中小企业数字化一些方面的工作。首先呢，中小企业数字化并不是我的研究领域，因为我是从产业经济学专门来从事咱们国家的各种5年规划、工业5年规划来做产业规划研究的。那我可以简单回答一下。第一个问题是说，刚才赖先生有提到说，是不是现在中国的中小企业数字化转型是一个什么程度？我认为，从国家政府以及像我们这样的官方智库，我们都非常重视中国的中小企业数字化的工作，并且出台了一系列的政策。可以说，这个政策的频次是非常高的。如果大家能够通过大数据或者是在网上能够看到，我们基本上是每个月都可以有围绕着中小企业数字化转型出台了一系列的相关的政策。但是我们的中小企业数字化转型也是分程度的。大家应该了解，在中国培育中小企业有一个非常重要的关键词叫专精特新。它类比于咱们德国的隐形冠军企业。那我们的专精特新也分为不同的维度，例如说有市级的专精特新、省级的专精特新，到国家级的专精特新，最后到小巨人，它是一个金字塔维度的。那从这个专精特新的分类，就可以感受到说，我们在中小企业它也有不同的发展程度。那围绕这样不同发展程度，所以他们的数字化水平和需求也是不同的。我认为像专精特新这样的企业，在数字化程度上和数字化需求上，它的应用度都比较高，但是并不是所有的中小企业都有这样的一个需求。然后第二个问题是，刚才赖先生有在中间有 Q 到我，就是说，是不是可能有一些标准互认的问题？这个问题，我不能代表性回答，但是我认为可以有一个建议性的解决方案。例如说，像我们赛迪这样的机构，或者是类似于在工业领域这样的事业单位机构，我们都有相应的评测平台。例如说，赛迪有专门认证于不同领域的评测的这样一个标准。那我们可以通过跟这样的机构来合作，建立一些团标，甚至说更好的一些国际性的标准，来推进很多的产品国际化或者跨境的一些交流。我觉得这个是一个好的方式，并且我也愿意提供这样的一个交流合作的一个平台，帮助各位有需求的企业家们进行对接。谢谢。
谢谢答案。I have a question on the floor. Dr. Chen, the minister, question. You have a mic for him. Get a mic. He's a senior minister in Cambodia. We can share, yeah.
Thank you for giving 2 minutes. I'm talking as a scholar because I was captivated that during this discussion, there are 2 aspects that are related to this digital transformation. On the one side is the technology, AI, machine learning, deep learning. On the other side, I heard a couple of panelists mention about the human dimension. And the keywords that many of you have used is connection, connected, interconnectedness. And I want to bring your attention to that word interconnectedness, because there's a lot of link between the human and the machine, particularly when you see so much progress in AI the last decades. And if you have read Ray Kurzweil in 1985, he mentioned the technological singularity. He said that one day, the machine intelligence may surpass human intelligence. That's still the hot debate. But if you look at the interconnectedness, we see that word in many human behavior and state behavior. Belt and Road Initiative is talking about people-to-people connectivity. Yeah. And from the science technology studies, academic interdisciplinary studies that look at the impact of society on technology and technology on society, there's also this the theory called actor network theory that consider AI, for example, as a machine, as a system, as an algorithm, as a database, but also interacting with anything that's surrounding human. The human actor is one thing, our telephone, our TV, etc. So all put together, I think that if you were to make sure that this new technology, intelligent technology, super intelligence, serve our society and not the reverse, we have to bring the philosophical dimension, especially ethics. I look at some ancient philosophy, particularly in Buddhist philosophy, there are also a concept that explains this interconnectedness. It's called interdependent origination. In Sanskrit, paticca samuppada. And we look into this, actually, this interconnectedness has been actually thought for 2,500 years and even before. And this leads to the big question that should we look into ethics in AI? And recently in London, there's a forum also on AI. The ethics is very important. And the last point from the Buddhist philosophy perspective, I'm not talking about Buddhist as a religion, but from the philosophical perspective, it had been said that in order to be morally responsible, a system, human or non-human, has to be conscious. And it has been demonstrated, still heated debate, that AI system has no consciousness. But my colleagues working on AI in Japan, they told me, Ritti, we're going to introduce consciousness to the computer. Let's see what happens in the future. So from the basis that premise that AI system has no consciousness, AI system cannot be accepted as a morally responsible. So who's going to be responsible for the design algorithm, design AI system, and the deployment and the use of AI? Still, it comes to the human factor. And Buddha taught us philosophy of wisdom that in this earth there are three types of son or daughter. The superior one who follow the middle path and wisdom, that person in charge of designing curriculum, deploying AI or implementing, we do good thing to society. And then you have the average that at least is conscious of the limitation of AI and the danger of AI. And then you have the bad son or the bad daughter who will use AI viciously. For example, I can see in the near future, the use of design of autonomous weapon that may, escape from the control of human. So all of this, thank you for giving me time, but in whatever we do in technology, we have to think that technology has to be the servant of human, and the reverse would not be very good. And I like also to ask this question when I talk about philosophy, technology, is that to think who or what is more dangerous, a machine that thinks like a human or a human that thinks like a machine? Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Chhem. So we had much time. Tan Sri has told me to quickly wrap up, right? So I'd like to thank all the role players, all the panelists. Today we have a distinguished panelist. And let me finally conclude the remark that I think China and ASEAN, for example, we have a long way to go in terms of really cross-border collaboration. I thank you, CCID, for inviting me to come to Shenzhen in July to give a speech on China-ASEAN Digital Cooperation. Hopefully we can set up a center here, China-ASEAN Center for Digital Collaboration, then we can have a better information exchange, right? There's a lot of misunderstanding, we don't know each other. So I hope that by having this conference in Shenzhen, will really bring the whole world to Shenzhen, and then China, and we can work together to promote this cross-border collaboration between China in ASEAN countries. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience with us. So we could go for the next session. Thank you very much. Thank you all the panelists. Yeah.
好，谢谢。